Hello everybody and welcome to FormulaPlayStation round number 5 here at Mexico F1 as per usual, hosted by me, Hyperwars Kun. Yeah. So, welcome to the stream. Obviously we missed round 4 at Monaco. My apologies, parents, evening sucks, I know. Big rip. I'll just whip this stream link in the chat. And then yeah. You lot can do whatever the fuck you want, I don't give a shit, man. FPS official stream, share, copy link, PSN. So we've got 15 drivers here tonight for this race at Mexico. Obviously people know Mexico, it's a slipstream fest. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Also, well, thank you to an update, we now have a full track map enabled so I can see whatever's going on, whatever drivers want to do, whatever. Now let's whip this link into the chat. There we go. First driver out is the one we'll spectate. And that looks to be like an alpha, which means it's either Buttons Back or Ghost Rider. And I can confirm it's Ghost Rider, so we're going to spectate with Ghost Rider for today's quality session unless he is overtaken. And people who get overtaken are outlapsed. Oh boy. But next to a very hard track for corner casting, especially on the S section. Well, the whole middle sector is basically a corner casting frenzy, but you know, it could be worse. Yeah. Anyway, let me just put my iPad on charge and then I will shortly get into proper comms. I say proper comms like I'm not doing proper comms already, but you know what I mean. So I'm expecting here to be a one-stop strat. Most drivers should be going from the softs to the mediums. Or, actually, no, sorry, soft to hards, my apologies. I don't know, well, mediums to hards actually, I think it's the better strat, my apologies. I've commentated Mexico like 3 times in the last month or so. Hence why, and the strats were all different each time, so it depends really on what the weather's like, how things go. As you can see on the full track map, a Ferrari just had a little bit of a spin, so that is probably the Jigsaw Moto or Big Slater. It's in Big Slater. Yeah, it was Big Slater. See the Jigsaw Moto still on his outlap behind this man Ghost Rider, who is riding his Alpha. Yeah, I don't really know. I was trying to relate that to Ghosts, but oh, he's doing a bad lap, as we can see, by a full red track map. So we'll move on to Mayor Man. Nope, we'll not move on to Mayor Man. He's invalidated too. We'll move on to Crazy Fruit. Nope, he's at the start of his lap. Who on earth's not? Oh, and there goes King Kodge. Nope, my apologies. That was. Oh no, it was King Kodge. I was right. So a big rip. And the first person I actually have no idea who that will be to set the lap. I think it may be Brown here, as he comes across the line. Yes, we're on 16.9. I think Buttons Back will be a close second for his lap. Obviously Brown setting his on the soft note. Buttons Back into the pits. The Jigsaw also out on the hards, quite weirdly enough. So he may be going for the hard to medium strat. As Lightning Focus is a 117.3, a little bit off Brown's pace by, well, just by 4 tenths. As the Jigsaw Moto clears off to the side, Big Slater coming through the 115.9. King Kodge going into the pits as well. Hot Shots is here 120.0, but Crazy Stripper 116.0. 1 tenth behind Big Slater, but Big Slater obviously on those mediums. Ghost Rider and Mega Man both with unvalid laps. Digic's also not on one currently. I think it will be Ghost Rider coming to set his next lap. Obviously on the softs, barely any ERS left to use. And not really the best at managing his ERS here, Ghost Rider. But he will come through with a time of 1:18.4, which puts him in 5th position, just 1.2 seconds behind Lightning Poker as Brown enters the pits. Digic's also going into the pits. Reese just finishing his lap again with no ERS left, but his lap will be a little bit quicker, well, a lot quicker actually, with a 1:15.2. Looks like Big Slater and Reese may have a fight on their hands here if they both seem to get fast lap times. As now Luke Vessel and Trench both on outlaps themselves. I don't know why I'm flicking through when I could just look to see where people are. The one little problem with this is that there's no car numbers on the little circles, which would be so much easier, but then again we'd have to register numbers and that'd be a lot. It'd be a lot of hassle. Luke Vettel sits at 1:15.9. Faster than Big Slater, but again on those softs. So it is looking like Luke Vettel maybe challenging for 4th position here as Trench goes second with 1:15.3, 1/10 behind Reese. And I have a feeling Trench and Reese can both improve their times into the 1:14s or even the 1:13s at this point. Luke says he's got held up, but whilst he's talking in chat, Sankey Dead is on a lap. So Luke Vettel will need to move out of the way. Sankey Dead with a purple first sector. I mean, he may be able to use Luke as some ERS. And Luke's saying Sanka would not move out of the way, and now Luke's just ruined Sanka's lap as well. As Luke eventually moves out of the way, Sanka definitely going to be distraught by that. And his lap could possibly be ruined here. As looking at other laps that have been set, Mega Man sets a 1:22.7, which is just being improved to 1:18.7. So 3 attempts off Ghost Rider here. As Sankey Dead goes into the pits and is probably going to go complain about Luke Vessel, which is basically what we all do. Now Big Slater right on the back of his Button's back, who is on a lap himself. Big Slater, however, not on a lap. So really putting this pressure on Button isn't doing good for him. Yeah, Luke, if you're AI, that still means you're in the way. That's still your fault. I mean, I don't think you understand that. AIs don't get ghosted. You are still in the way. As Button's back, obviously on these hards, probably looking to beat Big Slater's, hoping to beat Big Slater's medium time. Very unlikely to happen though, I'd say. And in fact, it looks like he'll be going home with 1:17.4, which is just behind King Kodge's soft time. So, a decent lap from Button's back. However, if he can just improve by a few attempts, he could go all the way down to 6th. So again, it could be better for Button, but it honestly could be worse. That's the Jigsaw Moto, Trinksy and Big Slater all on laps here. Trinksy the first one to come through, and his will be a 1:16.3, which puts him nicely behind Crazy Trooper and 6 tenths in front of Brown. And I'll look at Big Slater, who's apparently still on an outlap. That confuses me. I'll look at Jigsaw Moto instead, because yeah, he's not on an outlap. Neither is Hotshot. So we'll keep an eye on where the alphas are. I believe that maybe oh no, Hotshot's just set his lap. Oh, he's on alpha, he's in Merc. My apologies, he's actually at the start of his lap. So do ignore my stupidity. The Jigsaw Moto coming through, he has to. Big Slater with a big lap time of 1:14.8. The Jigsaw Moto 1:17.0 on the medium tyres, but Big Slater really getting a good first place there. And he looks like he may be set to get a really good lap out here, as Hotshot's just been invalidated. So he'll move on to Lightning Poker now. He's gone back out on the same set of mediums apparently, along with, and Jigsaw also invalidated. Trinxio going into the pits. Brown improves to a 1:15.9. This is a very good lap time from him, and a lot of people within a second, well, within a tenth here. Luke Vettel, Brown and Crazy Trooper all looking like they could get points off each other today and possibly fight for positions. Meanwhile, Sankey Dead, still the last man not to set a lap. Brown goes into the pits. Luke Vettel on a fresh new lap himself, looking to beat his 1:15.9. And as we can see, his first sector won with just a 27.9. That is an improvement of 3/10. So hopefully for Luke, that 3/10 will equate over the lap. And just 3/10 now will get him down to 1:15.6. He's obviously trying to beat a 1:14.8. So we'll need about 1.1 seconds to take pole here. As we just look at his Sector 2 split, and we'll see what the difference is. It is 5 whole tenths, which means currently all we need to do is gain 3 tenths in the last sector. One of the hardest sectors to gain or lose tenths. Hotshot retires into the barrier there, which may have screwed Luke Vettel over, but he's not. He's got a pole position. He's got 1:14.6. He is 2 seconds quicker than Big Slater. Luke Vettel has gone pole, kids. Luke Vettel taking pole for now. However, the question is, can he keep it? Obviously, getting pole's one thing, keeping it's another. I know Reese is on an outlap, Trench is on an outlap. Oh, Reese is on a lap now. Trench is still on an outlap. Big Slater can come back out of the pits and set a brand new lap. You know, I'm honestly just looking to see. Oh no, Reese is in the pits apparently. Trench is out on a lap though. As you can see, his purple mark, or purpley bluish marker, just going down that main straight. It's in the end of the DRS zone, as Mayor Man has decided to bin off his lap here. We're not going to move to King Codge. I don't know why I went that way. I was meant to go to Trench. We'll also see the difference between Trench's first sector and compare it with the likes of Luke Vettel's. So Trench gaining 2 tenths on his first sector. However, it's still, oh, what was it 28.0? Oh, it's 1/10 off Luke Vettel's first sector. And he only needs, well, he needs to gain 7 tenths in total. So Trench really going to have to hope that his middle sector is a big improvement. He only needs to gain 6 tenths through these two sectors, as he says a 27.8, which is a 2/10 improvement on his time. I don't think this is going to put him pole, you know. He's going to come around the last corner, take it nice and tightly. If he can just get a really good exit here, this could be pole for him. No, it's not. It's third place. It's a 1:14.9, and Trench takes P3. However, he needs to go back into those pits and try and go out for another soft lap. Trinxie here, not doing a lap. Lightning Poker's just been randomly setting hot laps on these same tyres. I love that. As for Mayor Man, he's just kind of doing Mayor Man things. Flashback sweat. TTV, you in the chat? The jokes. Anyway, we're keeping on with Mayor Man to see if he has improved over the time. Going quite slowly here, and he's actually slowing down on this straight. I don't know what Mayor Man's plan is, but I think he's trying to avoid getting into the top. And it says invalid, but looking at his stream, he didn't get invalid, so unfortunately for Mayor Man, he's just having a hard time out there today. Ghost Rider, on the other hand, coming out to improve. He's got to stay in 2 positions to get into that top 10. There's a Williams in front of him. That is Trinksy. Trinksy obviously trying to beat his 116.3. Ghost Rider trying to beat his 118.1. If he wants to get into that top 10, he has to gain 7 tenths. And that's against a man who set his time on the hard tyres. But he's got a wild Williams behind him. We're going to watch it from V Trinksy's angle to see how much this may off-put him. And Ghost Rider is useful for slipstream. That's one thing that can be taken as a positive. However, into corners like these, Trinksy's really going to have to slow down and can't go full pelt like he normally would be able to. And he could put his ERS down to none and then visit back up. But I think at this point it's too late. Trinksy has lost out, and yep, he's going back into the pits. Ghost Rider improving just a little though, not enough to gain him up positions. Digixomoto on the other hand, coming to set a time of a 1:16.7, which unfortunately for him I believe was invalidated. Yes, it was. So 3 tenths up, and unfortunately for Digixomoto, he does not move up into 8th position. Meanwhile, Mayorman finally coming through to set another lap as he sets a 1:18.3, now 2 tenths behind Ghost Rider. But I don't think he has enough time to go set another lap unless he holds up his ERS. Sankey Dead also coming out on an outlap here. And we can see Reese is setting up for a lap himself. Just getting his tyres warmed up, just so that he can come out and set the last possible lap he can. Meanwhile, King Kodge, Ghost Rider, and Mayorman still on laps. Digixomoto has retired. Ghost Rider comes through. Unfortunately, it's not. Oh no, he's beating his time. My apologies. 1:17.6, beating King Kodge, who is just spun off. Luckily, no cars around there. But Ghost Rider into 11th position. Digixomoto right on the edge at the moment. He could be knocked out of the top 10, which could be a blessing in disguise. And it could be, but it also may not be. Meanwhile, we'll go on board with Brown. He is here trying to set a lap. Sankey Dead also trying to set a lap here, and I actually think Sanka's further upfield. Unfortunately, I can't see him, so I'm going to go and look for him myself. There we go. Oh, nope, Sankey Dead not having some fun times. Can confirm. We'll go back to Brown. I feel that's a more fun person to watch, Brown. In the Brown Haas. Ironic. Obviously, Brown does have quite a bit of a time to beat. To get up to Reese, he has to gain 7 tenths. And as before, Reese even improves his lap. So Brown has his work cut out for him. A hell of a lot. He's improved in the first sector, but only just. Second sector. Oh, no, it's invalid. Never mind. Never mind. So Ghost Rider, King Kodge, and Mayorman kind of confirming their positions here. Brown also taking one for the team. The next man up, I believe, will be Reese, as he has just decided to end his lap. And that will be not a enthusiastically quick lap. The Ferrari of Big Slater, though, coming through to a 1:14.7, which means Trench and Crazy Trooper, never mind, just Trench, is the only one to be able to beat Luke Vettel and have a possibility of getting pole. But as we can see, there is a Mercedes in front. That is Sankey Dead. Well, I'm presuming it is, I don't really know. There's no other Mercedes on the track here. Hot Shots retired, so that is Sankey Dead in front of Trench. Sankey Dead really slowing down Trench here from what I can see. However, he also is giving slipstream, but Trench setting a 1:15.0. Sankey Dead invalid, so really should have pulled off there. As Crazy Trooper instead of finishing normally, goes into the pits because I don't like people who do that. And he knows I don't. You fucking wanker. So from this qualifying session, Mercedes, the really awful qualifying from themselves, on the back row together. I mean, that's awful for them. But Luke Vettel taking pole, Big Slater only just behind a minuscule gap. Then Trench third, Crazy Trooper fourth, and Reese fifth, all within about 5/10 of the leader. Lightning Poker takes 6th place. Didn't actually notice him set that time. Well on Poker. Brown in 7th. Trinksy in 8th. Buttons back and Jigsaw 9th and 10th on the mediums. Then everyone else setting their times on the softs here. Apart from Sankey Dead, who was unable to set a lap. Just coming out way too late for it. I mean, the funny thing is the top 6 always in a second. And then it just sprawls. So I really think there will be one big battle at the front, or it will separate into like smaller battles near the front of people who are about evenly paced, and then the rear end of the field will just be a jumble sale of absolute whatevers. It looks dry for the race as well. And I'm going to put my money down on this race. I'm going to say that Big Slater's going to win it. Big Slater, go out there and win it. See, I've got money on him. I don't like rooting for people. But if I put my money on anyone, it's him. If I had to pick another winner, it'd be Reese. Thank you for all your questions. I'll take no more. Goodbye. Oh, and the Toro Rosso Crazy Trooper has smoked his engine. Trench forgot that it's not a race. And Luke Vettel takes him out. You know what? Just want to say calm as a bitch. So, everyone from 11th to 15th all chose to do on the softs. Basic terms, you're fucked. I love it. Luke says ESP1. Also Luke gets rid of the message. What the fuck? Luke gets P1. Also Luke takes out Trench in the process. I'm actually surprised Trench isn't triggered in the chat. I'm really surprised by that. I tried to get behind him. Oh dear. Oh, that's the biggest joke I've heard since Kubica got announced for Williams. Oh, and look at that. We're taking ages, but finally the Mercedes have rocked up to the grid about a year late. Here we go. 5 red lights. I don't see lights, but there they are. 3, 4, 5, round 5, Mexico, FPS, let's go. And it's a good start from somebody. I don't know who, I'll tell you in a minute. But one of the McLarens has pulled straight into the middle. It's a runaway fight between Big Slater and Luke Vessel here. The two of them going neck and neck as someone's front wings done. Big Slater's going to get the inside for this first corner. Luke Vessel pops down to second just for a second and actually gets the inside to the next corner. There's someone who spun. I believe that's Mayo Man. Lightning Poker's done. I think Codge is done as well. Oh no, it's Reese. It's Reese. Anyway, Crazy Trooper continuing up into third, right on the back of Big Slater here. Really good stuff from Trinksy up into fourth as well. Luke Vessel keeping that lead, only just round going wide for fifth. And Trent has also lost a hell of a lot of places here. It looks like so has Lightning Poker as well. Hotshot's just lost a couple of more places here as he goes wide again. And Sankey Dead cutting corners like it's nobody's business. And actually, so is everyone, I think. But I think Mayman's been the worst off from the start so far. It doesn't actually look like he's lost much of his wing, but I can definitely tell you that was a bad start from him. As Brown's on the back of the Jigsaw Moto, with Codge on the back of him. The three of these guys going to fight into the first corner. Slipstream going to be OP. I think Brown's got this. There's no doubt he's got this. Slipstream must be doing him wonders. But I think the Jigsaw Moto may have a stronger straight line speed setup here. The Ferrari looking really good, and Brown just couldn't get the toe off him. The Jigsaw Moto, decent setup play, fair play. As King Codge is actually pressuring the back of Brown here really well. King Codge just looking to get that move done ASAP. Probably the highest position he's been all season. Sorry, Hotshot, didn't mean to offend you there. Highest position you've been all season. As Trench is overtaking Buttons back down the inside, and oh, that was a risky move from Button. I don't even know what he's trying to do there. Well, honestly, I wasn't really looking too much, but it was a risky move nonetheless. As here comes Reese on the man who's trying to impersonate Button. Oh, Button goes very deep. Reese able to get past him though, and is now back up into 9th position. And after 2 laps, we can see that position changes. It's been a really good start from Jigsaw Moto and King Codge. Have a bad start from Lightning Poker. Reese and Trench's Buttons back goes into the pits, I believe getting wing damage from someone. Meanwhile, at the front, Big Slater on the back of Luke Vessel. Luke Vessel's teammate up in 4th, which is really good for his teammate. As a Lightning Poker has just lost out to Ghost Rider here, but then gets him back. Oh, and so does Sankey Dead, being the opportunist. As you can see, Sanka right on the rear wing of Lightning Poker, who's defending right down the middle. Sanka not having any of it, and unfortunately decides to stay behind. I don't want your lag. And this is a really good figure battle here for 10th. That's all I'm going to say. Well, next time we can't even have a two-way work. I really think Sanka could get this move done as he cuts the corner again. Not sure how strict these corner cutting things are for that corner exactly. That's the one you can kind of get away with. But again, that's from my experiences as Lightning Poker. Really being pressured now by the Mercedes. Meanwhile, Brown right next to Jigsaw Moto. Can he get him this lap? He's got DRS this time. So is Trenchlow behind him. Mayo Man has spun again, I believe. As Ghost Rider gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Jigsaw Moto, harsh defensive move there on Brown, who's just really, well, what most GT racers would call bump drafting. The back of Jigsaw Moto is not going to get the move on this straight unless he makes a dive, and he's decided not to do that. Meanwhile, looking back at the front, Luke Vessel has been overtaken by Big Slater now. And with Luke's constant erratic use of hot lap, no wonder Big Slater is keeping in front, as he's got a hell lot more DRS to play with. Luke Vessel clearly doesn't know how to manage his ERS well. It's not a shot, it's just the truth. Meanwhile, we'll go back to the battle here for 5th place. And we'll ride on board with man in 7th, Trench. See, lost quite a few places from the start here. Starting in 3rd, now down to 7th. Big Slater taking fastest lap, and Luke Vettel barely gaining much on him. As here we go for the Slipstream Fest, along with the DRS. Trench only using high ERS mode, but that will probably be enough here to get Brown and possibly the Jigsaw Moto. He's going for the dive down the inside, and no, he decides to back out the last second as Brown gets the move on to Jigsaw Moto and cuts him off completely, leaving the Jigsaw Moto open for Trench to make that move. And then Trench possibly could make the move on Brown here, as he makes his move up the inside. Again, Brown not giving him much space at all. And Trench moves up to 6th with Brown up to 5th. The Jigsaw Moto still doing very, very well on the tyre compound he's on. The highest medium runner so far, with Buttonsback and Ghost Rider being the only other two on the mediums. And they've already pit, so... You know, it's kind of a... There's a reason they're on there. Now we'll keep with this battle of Trench and Brown. And possibly the Jigsaw Moto. Oh, Reese on the back of the Jigsaw Moto as well. Reese going to get into this fight ASAP. But Trench is going to try his best to really catch up to Brown. Brown with no ERS, with no DRS this time, and a lot less ERS to play with. Trench has got that move done with relative ease. Reese, on the other hand, only just in the DRS. So unfortunately not able to get on the back of the Jigsaw Moto, who's really, really trying to get this Haas. Brown looking good in quali, but just in the race not doing so well, as Jigsaw Moto makes contact with him, gets the inside line there. Brown really pushing him off the track here and not giving him any space at all. Jigsaw Moto getting an unfair penalty for that. I would have to query that with the stewards, because to me Brown's just not giving space, and you have to leave her the space. Brown unfortunately not leaving that, henceforth leaving the Jigsaw Moto in the dust. And well, if this was any more or less any other track, he'd either be in a wall or on the gravel. Simple as that. As here we go, Luke Vettel again. Not much is going to happen this time. Can count on that. And look how slow they're getting on each other. So we'll go look back at Brown, who's actually been overtaken by the Jigsaw Moto. And the DRS won't do much. Same as for Reese. And Brown's still going to try and do the GT moves, but unfortunately ends up spinning and comes back on track right in front of King George. Luckily King George, and not close enough to be affected by Brown. At most the dust would have got in his eye, if it was real dust and not particles in a game. Another driver we haven't really talked about too much is Trinksy, up in 4th today, looking really good so far, and he's really capitalised on the mistakes of Trench, Reese, etc, etc. But with not only him but Lightning Poker going down, as Brown spun it again. Brown has spun it again on the S section. Luckily for him, Hotshot quite a way back, but now Brown down to 11th as Big Slater has been overtaken by Luke Vettel, thanks to Big Slater going into the pits. Luke Vettel going longer. Luke Vettel possibly trying for the softs to hards. I think Big Slater may be trying the 2-stop. But here goes Trinksy on Crazy Trooper. It won't be enough, but he'll still keep that, and he'll still try and get to Crazy. As Big Slater out into 10th on those mediums. Brown into the pits as well. Jigsaw Moto over a second now behind Reese, so won't be able to get DRS next lap unless he can somehow make it back. Buttonsback out in front of Brown. Will Ghost Rider be joining him as the Jigsaw Motor gets a penalty here? But nope. Ghost Rider behind alongside Mayor Man. As we'll come back to Trinksy here. He's unfortunately just lost quite a bit of time on Crazy Trooper in front of him. He may not even be able to get DRS this lap. But it could be a sign that Trinksy would need to go into the pits and possibly choose another set of tyres. But nope, it looks like Trinksy's staying out, and he will have, yes, he will have DRS, but Luke Vettel does go in the pits himself. Now it is possible to take these hard 25 laps. Luke Vettel going to play on that now. Reese also into the pits along with Lightning Poker. Reese onto another pair of softs. So Reese looking to go to that 2-stop. But Trinksy and Crazy Trooper at the front. Jigsaw Moto on the mediums in 4th. Doing, honestly, an outstanding job to be this close to the leaders. Senka also from the back up to 6th already. And he's closing in on King Kodge. But Big Slater is behind. And the Ferrari will want to overtake this Mercedes, who was last in quali. As we can see, Luke Vettel has lost time in that pit stop and is now 1.4 seconds behind Big Slater, really doing the business through the pits there. But Big Slater is getting held up by Sanka and King Kodge. Sanka looks to defend it, but Big Slater just too quick and has made his way past and is now looking at King Kodge. Obviously he'll want to try and keep behind him for now, just so he can get some DRS down the straight. Obviously that DRS will be very, very helpful for him. I'll be able to even further that gap between him and Luke, who's able to get past Sanka. Trench into the pits for the mediums, and Big Slater riding wheel to wheel with Kodge, getting past him quite nicely. As we can see, Sanka being pressured by Luke. Luke takes the inside on these hards. Sanka now down to 7th. Obviously Luke has to try and keep as close to Big Slater as he can, as he knows Big Slater will have to go in the pits again. So Luke needs to keep a pit stop away from him. At maximum, sorry. And that's not even including the fact that Big Slater will be faster, not just the mediums but on the softs too. But that's what Luke Vettel is hoping for, that he can keep up with him and, well, minimise any time gain. As Luke Vettel's trying to make his way past King Kodge as well. King Kodge, knowing his teammate, never mind, is Luke Vettel's championship rival, doesn't do much to stop him, but Trinksy into the pits. The Jigsaw Motor will take the lead for now. Big Slater 2nd, and in 3rd we have Luke Vettel. As Crazy Trooper and Trinksy both choose the softs. King Kodge, Sankey Dead, both out on the softs here as well. As Sankey Dead coming down this main straight, he's going around the outside, not giving King Kodge any room whatsoever, as King Kodge completely slams the door on Sanka. Both of them doing the exact same thing to each other. And to be honest, calm as a bitch. Rename the stream Calm as a Bitch. If you don't like it, fuck off. As Karma is a bitch. Karma's my bitch. Meanwhile, nearer the back of the grid, like I said, to the back of the grid, it's 8th position. Meanwhile, nearer 8th position, Trench currently doing his best to keep in front of Reese here. So Trench on the mediums, Reese on the softs. Trench will need to go to the softs on his next stop. Reese will need to go to the mediums. So really, Reese has to go do his best to get past Trench as soon as possible, because Trench is a liability that Reese just can't afford to be behind. as King Codge goes into the pits. Crazy Trooper, Trench, and Trinksy has no DRS. That's unfortunate. But Sankey dead and Digsomoto are the only two yet to set a lap. Sankey dead, down a position to Crazy Trooper. And on comes the onslaught of Trench, Reese and Trinksy. Three of the front runners from this race. I mean, our Big Slater under a second behind Digsomoto. If Digsomoto pits this lap, it will mean that Big Slater will have a massive gap to be able to really go at it. As well, Trench give Sankey dead John just let off there and let Trench through. King Codge with a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Sank now possibly able to hold out Reese, but as Trench isn't his teammate, I don't think he will. I think Sank is smart and knows when drivers are faster than him. Either that or he was just really, really slow. But yep, Sank it into the pits. And wow, Reese has really been slowed down by that. Can confirm Big Slater able to overtake the Digsomoto, but Reese is now going neck and neck with Trinksy. Trinksy on the same strat as him. Reese needs to beat Trinksy at minimum today. But Trinksy is really racing a blinder. And has now got past Reese and could even go up to pressure Trench, but the longer Reese is on his tail, the worse it will get for both of them. Really, either Reese needs to make this overtake quick and fast, or he has to come to the realisation that for him, he may be stuck behind Trinksy the whole race, or at least until the pit stop window. Whereas Trench is having a time of his life. No, he's over a stop away. Well, he's over a second away. But none of them have DRS. The nearest person to Trench is Crazy Trooper, who is pulling away. Trinksy, on the other hand, kind of keeping to that 1.7 second gap. If him and Reese can really use the DRS to their advantage, they could gain up back to Trench and really push him back down and, you know, make those mediums work. But at least in their favour. However, it has to be a group effort from both Trinksy and Reese. I don't think he'll be willing to do that just for a free position. Like, actually, you never know. Meanwhile, up in fourth, Crazy Trooper on the back of Luke Vettel, looking at that Williams and thinking, why the fuck am I behind this piece of shit? Or in our words, let me overtake Luke Vettel. I mean, Crazy Trooper is on 2 tyre compounds better. Luke Vettel really just trying to take the title to the end. I don't really think that was the best strat idea from Luke. I mean, it depends who you're racing up against. When you're racing against people who are about the same speed as you, you really want to be on the same strat as them, or pulling away on the better strat. You don't want to purposely choose the worst one. But Luke did, and he's going to have to suffer the consequences. One of those consequences being overtaken quite often. Sounds like I can smell chocolate in my room, but there's none in here, and now I'm sad. But yeah, Luke Vettel now down in position and is down into fourth. Trinksy 1.4 seconds now behind Trench, gained 3 seconds in 3 tenths in the last lap. So if he keeps that up, he'll have the DRS within 2. But again, it all depends on whether Trench messes up. But now with Reese out of the question, Trinksy is able to kind of stretch his legs a bit. Burn some rubber, you know, whatever saying floats your boat. Meanwhile, as the battle for 10th is concerned, Brown will need to pit again. And looking at it, King George may be the one to inherit that position and possibly keep up for the rest of the race, unless Sankey Dead is able to do something about it. Trinksy has lost time again to Trench, and is now 1.6 seconds away. Trench, though, having Luke Vessel in his sights, only 2 seconds up the road. Luke definitely looking as a prime target to overtake here. Luke looking like someone who could really be useful to Trench, just to stretch his gap a bit further away from the soft runners. And if Big Slater wasn't at the front right now, I'd honestly be thinking that Trench could win this race. Like, to me, apart from Big Slater, Trench looks like the only person capable of getting a very high position. However, if Tsuchimoto can take his tyres to about lap 21, 22, he possibly, I'm saying possibly, could take his softs 14 laps. But then again, Big Slater will also be taking his softs about that long, so as Reese goes into the pits after 8 laps on the softs, with 19 laps left to go, he's going on the hards. Reese looking just near to the end now with no more pit stops, as Crazy Trooper's finally made his way up to Jigsaw Moto. And all this is where the fun begins. As we can see, a Wild Mega Man getting ghost lapped. Ghost lapper. If you understand the joke, you understand the joke. Then Crazy Trooper on the same level here as the Jigsaw Moto. Jigsaw Moto yet to stop, and really doing well to keep his tyres nice and fresh. Crazy Trooper, on the other hand, still with a stop to go, as well as Jigsaw Moto, but he's got to stop. As the Jigsaw Moto takes his, Crazy Trooper will get the DRS and will be able to just to go. Luke Vessel gain DRS off Crazy Trooper here, which is really beneficial for him, as the Jigsaw Moto goes onto the softs. So I think he's going medium, soft here. I mean, the Jigsaw Moto actually might have a chance at getting a high position as Button's back goes into the pits as well, along with Lightning Poker, who I'm assuming has wing damage. But after Luke's DRS kind of goes, it's now Trench and Trinksy's job to catch up to him. As Sankey then makes it up into 10th position, with King Kodge up to 9th. Button's back in Lightning Poker out in 10th and 11th. Hotshot also went into the pit as Lightning Poker's been overtaken by Ghost Rider already. And Luke Vessel somehow under a second behind like a Crazy Trooper here. I mean, surely if he's getting this close, Crazy Trooper's either setting really bad laps, or he is actually losing his tyres. But no, his tyres were in the 118s. And these two, just the last 3 have all been 119/20s, so Crazy Trooper's softs may not be going as far as they expected to be. I mean, I'm assuming he's taking them another lap or so, just so he can pit onto the mediums for the last 16 laps of the race. So anyway, the gap between Big Slater and Luke Vettel roughly sits at 9.3 seconds. No, 9.4 now. 9.5. So, with that gap in mind, Big Slater will need quite a bit from his pit stop. A really good pit entry, as well as a great pit exit, possibly setting the fastest lap of the race with that, to catch back up to Luke. And that's not even mentioning the traffic he could face behind him. And the only traffic he may have to worry about is if someone doesn't stop. For example, Jigsaw Moto, who's currently on the softs. Meanwhile, Luke Vettel seems to be going faster, or everyone else is just going slow, just to compare his lap times. But no, Luke Vettel setting a 1:19.5, which is, I believe, if I'm looking correctly, yes, his best lap time on the hard so far. So really good stuff from Luke Vettel there, taking his hards as long as they can go, and also still setting up pretty good laps with them. Ghost Rider goes into the pits for the final time, and I believe he'll be on for another set of mediums. Other than the hards. So I'm just waiting for it. It is mediums, yep, for another 16 laps till the end. As yep, there goes Crazy Trooper into the pits. Luke Vettel, off he goes. DRS activated, and he is off. Trench getting DRS from Crazy Trooper. Trinksy. Oh wait, no, that was Luke Vettel, never mind. Ignore me, Trench not getting DRS. The Crazy Trooper in and out in a flash onto the mediums, and he'll be out quite way in front of Luke Vettel here. But unfortunately not in front of Jigsaw Moto, which he probably would have liked. Meaning the Jigsaw Moto able to get a decent gap away from him, over 4 seconds, well 3.5 seconds. So there's a good little gap there, and Jigsaw Moto on technically the faster tyre, but Jigsaw Moto trying to take these softs 18 laps. Ooh. Oh wait, no, Jigsaw Moto has to pit anyway. Yeah. What am I saying? Oh, Jigsaw Moto spun it, but has actually kept it relatively alive. And Crazy Troopers didn't get here in a move here. That's fine. The second Jigsaw Moto gets the feeling back in his tyres, he'll be able to use that DRS straight really to push himself. Actually push back at Crazy Trooper as Trinksy's into the pits. He's on to the mediums now for the last 14 laps of this race. There's no doubt about it, because he has to. Buttons back with another penalty. But here goes Crazy Trooper and Jigsaw Moto. Jigsaw Moto not using DRS here. Instead going round the outside with just ERS. And gets the move done quite comfortably. And then get the DRS again, not using it this time though. Crazy Trooper possibly getting the move back. And no, the Jigsaw Moto cuts on the corner slightly, but keeping the position. And they'll still go neck and neck. Ooh, no. No, Crazy Trooper. No. And that was not a sensible move whatsoever. Honestly, that was quite an awful move. I've got to be honest, as Team Cod is fighting Sankey dead for 8/9th position back here, with Buttons back also in it for 10th. I'm actually going to go and watch this battle as it unfolds. But all these guys on the mediums, King Cod has taken his the longest, so his will be the most worn. Buttons back with the least one as Kodge kind of cuts off Buttons' line there. Digixomoto to get gets back past Crazy Trooper. Sanka with a skew-if entry. Can Buttons back get the DRS here and make it count? Here he goes on Kodge. Into the slipstream. Kodge gaining more of a turn on Sanka, and then Button is on the two of them as Kodge takes the inside line, cutting the corner with it. That's looking very close to a disqualification for King Kodge. But he takes P8 from that move. King Kodge only 3 penalties so far. It's actually quite lucky. In all fairness, well, technically 4, but 3 corner cutting penalties. Reese with a 3-second time penalty as well. Crazy Trooper though, closing in on Digixomoto, 2 tenths behind. The yellow flag in sector 2/3. I don't want to look who it is, but I can't actually see who it is because, you know, the game. I'm assuming it was Lightning poking, seeing how far back he looks. The Sanka's really lost out to King Kodge here, and Buttons back surely going to capitalise on this. Sanka's made his defensive move. Buttons back, up the inside, and that is what you call a really good overtake. Lightning poker with a 5-second penalty in the pits. Buttons back could even get on Kodge here. Kodge has made his defensive move. Button diving down the inside, and that is good, clean, fair fun. Oh, Kodge, no. I don't like moves at that corner. As Lightning Poker leaves the session, I believe having a crash. I believe that was him in sector 2/3. As Crazy Trooper is overtaking the Digixomoto down the main straight here. Digixomoto with no DRS whatsoever, but he's able to stay in Crazy Trooper's slipstream. The slipstream is really going to help him here. Digixomoto in this fight here. As he gets a penalty, and Crazy Trooper able just to pull away, only slightly though. The one problem with the softs on this track, unfortunately, the softs wear out very, very quickly. Within 8 laps, they're pretty much useless. Crazy Trooper at the moment has the advantage. As Luke Vessel's done very well to keep himself a good distance behind Big Slater, only 10.4 seconds. And currently Trench is only just caught up to Luke, and it's only just got back up into his DRS. Meaning that both when Trench and Slater pit, they'll be pitting and racing to get to Luke first. Obviously the Big Slater having the big advantage. But also could mean that Crazy Trooper may just be involved with Big Slater enough in this race. I don't think pit stops are 30 seconds, but it'll be close as Trinksy overtakes Reese down the main straight. Trinksy obviously on the has just pit onto the mediums 4 laps ago. Reese onto the hards 9 laps ago. And Trinksy will take 6th position. We'll now try and close in on Digixomoto, who will need to pit very, very soon. As King Kodge and Sanka are fighting for the position here. We'll go and look as it is. Ooh, Sanka losing it there. Brown is just enjoying the fight from back here. Big Slater into the pits. Luke Vessel stays out. Trench stays out. This could be very, very good for Big Slater. I say this could be, it will be very good. And he'll be out 13 seconds in front of Crazy Trooper, so it's a 20-second gap from the pit stops. Which means that Trench will be forced to go behind Crazy Trooper and possibly even to Jigsaw Moto. Oh, is Brown kind of pushed out there by Kodge that gets the move back on him. And is now, well, was up into 11th, now down, well, it was up to 10th, now down to 11th. We'll have DRS here as the Jigsaw Moto into the pits. And Brown, even before he's got the DRS, looking like he'll be able to get this move done. King Kodge makes it his defensive move. That is his only move he's allowed to make. Brown to the outside, cuts in, beautiful move. Brown into the 10th position. Trench into the lead, obviously. Going into the pits too. Luke Vettel staying out. There's a 9-second gap to Big Slater. And Big Slater is going to try and decrease that as much as possible. 8 laps left to go. He's got to take a second out of Luke every lap. Crazy Trooper trying to do the same with Trench, trying to keep that distance away from him. It's a 5.5 second gap. Trinksy quite a bit behind. No way, that's 21 seconds. Damn. Oh, it's 12, never mind. As Brown's here behind Sankey Dead, really just bump drafting him through the last little sector. DRS not doing too much, but it will be something to make this move here. Brown making the dive to the inside, works well. Sanka losing out, and Brown is up into 9th position. Sanka down to 10th. As we can see though, on our mini-map, our leaders on the same straight as each other. And they are really fighting for it. Big Slater down to 5.7 seconds behind Luke. Fastest lap is Big Slater's a 1:16.7. Luke Vettel hasn't matched that all race and is nowhere near to it. In fact, he's over 2 seconds behind. As we can see though, Brown may be able to get DRS from Hotshot here. No, I think he's a bit too far back. The Sanka will. No, he won't. Ignore me. On the other hand, Jigsaw Moto close to Reese now and getting ever closer. See, Reese choosing to go onto the hards does mean that he'll be slower. So drivers like Jigsaw Moto on these softs are technically quicker. Let me just have a swig of drink quick. Well, yeah. Mayor Man with another time penalty there, as we can see. But back to what I was saying, Jigsaw Moto does look faster than Reese. Big Slater 2.9 seconds behind Luke, 6 laps left to go. The Jigsaw Moto here with the DRS. Will he be able to get past Reese here? I mean, you can see them going too wide. Jigsaw Moto in front and takes 6th position off Reese. And meanwhile, Trench is on the back of Crazy Trooper. He's going to try for a dive here down the inside. It's a risky place. I wouldn't try it myself, but Trench able to make the move and is now up into third. Big Slater 1.6 seconds behind Luke and ever closing. Just like to remind, Luke Vessel has 1 penalty so far. Big Slater with 2 warnings. To add into context, Big Slater is currently winning this race on penalties. And he's holding up his ERS down the main straight. I mean, that's just that's when you know you're fucked. So sorry, Luke. Did say at the start, Big Slater for the win. I feel like if Luke had gone and copied the same strat as Big Slater, Trench would have been today's winner. However, we can see where those 13 seconds have gone from Trench. We can see why he is only third. I think he'd be in this battle right now if he hadn't had that first corner crash. But that's understandable. Anyway, though, lap 32 about to start. Big Slater pumping up that ERS to overtake. Luke Vessel in overtake himself, actually changing it down for once. He's made his defensive move, and I mean, look at that from the Ferrari. Really getting it good there. Now up to first. And really, he just needs to push away from Luke now and pray that he makes no mistakes. Meanwhile, just before the start, finish straight. Here comes the Jigsaw Moto. On Trinksy. Trinksy 10 lap old mediums. The Jigsaw Moto on fresh sauce. And again, another Ferrari overtaking the Williams. Ferraris actually were a good strategy for once. That's Luke Vessel's race over and done with, surely. A second penalty really does add salt to the wounds. And I mean, yeah. Honestly, don't think there's any coming back for Luke Vessel here. I'm afraid to say for him, it looks like Big Slater has taken the win today, unless Big Slater makes a mistake, which could easily happen. Trinks to a 3-second time penalty. I'm wondering how many penalties Trench has. So Trench currently has 1 penalty, which means, okay, Crazy Trooper with quite a few, in fact. So technically, the Jigsaw Moto again has quite a few as well, which means V-Trinksy looking in a good position with only 8 seconds of penalties. So Trinksy doesn't need to worry too much. He probably will be able to overtake Jigsaw Moto at minimum, if not Crazy Trooper 2, if Crazy keeps stacking up those penalties. As a Mayo Man overtakes Hotshot here, and this is the only battle we have currently. And oh, Hotshot making the dive on Mayo. Mayo will have the DRS back though. Mayo Man obviously on those fresh mediums. These two just having the fun at the back here. I love when racers do this. You know, they may be fighting for nothing, but it's their nothing, so they want to fight for it. And there Mayo Man goes on Hotshot, taking 14th. Hotshot down to 15th. Ghost Rider gets a 3-second penalty, but not really going to matter too much, if I'm being honest. I'm just looking back at Trinks' Hotshot gets another penalty. Sankey Dead seems to be... he was getting on Brown, but then he kind of stopped. as the Jigsaw Moto and Big Slater both coming to the end of their lifespan of their tyres. But then again, so is everyone else, so there's not really much to put on that. Crazy Trooper for another time penalty though, which sort of just pushes the Jigsaw Moto even further towards him. So Crazy Trooper has 3, 6, 9, 12, 17 seconds of penalties. The Jigsaw Moto actually is 18 himself. And Trinksy with only 8. So already Trinksy is gaining 9 seconds on the Jigsaw Moto and 10 seconds on Crazy Trooper. So only Trinksy could somehow gain 5 seconds in a lap. He'd actually be getting himself 4th position. Oh, it's Reese unfortunately another penalty. I think the positions maybe a bit screwed up by penalties here today. I think Sankey Dead had one of his cleanest races in ages. Yeah, that seems pretty clean for him. Firing shots. I mean, not much really going on, so what we'll do is we'll come and watch Big Slater for his final lap. Hotshot has retired, unfortunately, meaning he couldn't make the end of the race. But Big Slater comes across the finish line for the last time until that checkered flag waves down the main straight. This probably could be a fastest lap attempt for him here. His car is at the lightest it'll ever be. I'm surprised there wasn't a safety car for Hotshot retiring there. Still the yellow flags though, so very surprised. Anyway, Brown with a 3-second time penalty. Again, that's not going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things. But Big Slater across this section, it's been a superb drive from him. Second to first, really good strat. He honestly played that really well, I can't lie. We see the red, white and green of Mexico. He laps Lightning Poker's Dead AI and comes across the line to take the checkered flag. Big Slater is today's winner. Across the line next will be Luke Vessel, the man still in hot lap. Across the line third it will be Trench after his awful start. It's a really good comeback from him. Then fourth will be Crazy Trooper. Quite a lot of penalties there. He's 17 seconds behind Trench. Mayor Man's take 14th as well. Jigsaw Moto riding home for 5th position. Oh, I should have seen him across the line, sorry. Trinksy will actually steal that 5th off Jigsaw Moto. And Reese will go to 7th. So I actually think this is his worst performance so far in FPS. Ghost Rider taking 12th. Barton's back actually beating Reese to take 7th himself, only just though. I mean, wow. That's all I want to say, wow. Brown will come home for 9th position. Sankey Dead will come home for 10th. King Kodge will himself take 11th. Now, before we get to the podium, I want to say my drive of the day. I am giving it to Trench. Big Slater deserves it a hell of a lot, but he had a comfortable drive. I really think Trench deserved it as he fought back through that pack. I could have also given it to Trinksy as well today. It's a hard decision. Trinksy obviously did really well. to get his position. But I'm giving it to Trench. So a really big Slater win. Luke Vessel second, Trench third. I'm going to have to say thank you all for watching and good night.